What you will find with your pain, it's coming there to support you. You get hurt. Today's video is not a comfortable one for some of you, I think. So today's video is about being in pain. What do you do when you're in pain? Most of the time we're in pain, particularly from when we're younger, we're taught to blame. We're taught to think, it's their fault, or it's this situation that's done this to me, etc. And when we're in pain, the last thing we want to do is look at ourselves or our part to play in it. However, if you're my friend or you're working with me, when you're in pain, that's when I'm going to poke you lovingly, kindly, but it could be sometimes it's a little bit of a battle, because what happens is that when people are in pain, they feel very defensive and very upset, and they don't want to deal. No, they did that to me, or I don't want to deal with this now, I'm in pain. However, this morning, my best mate and I, we were talking, and he was in quite a difficult pain point from something that was happening to him. And I noticed that the thing that was happening to him is something that he used to do a lot to me and other people. And I was like, oh, and he's like, oh yeah, that really hurts. And I remember saying to him, oh yeah, do you remember you used to do this? He's like, oh yeah, I did. Oh, and then, yeah, but it really hurts. And he was focusing on the fact it hurt, had completely not looking at the fact that he had spent many years causing that kind of hurt on other people. Not consciously, of course not consciously. But the reason why this is because there's something within you that is asking you to look at what that issue is, right? If you are not upset by something, it's because it's already resolved within you and you feel better. So what happened with my friend is I poked a bit and I said, I'm doing this because I love you, and I think it's really important to just get you to really understand this. And what it was, to get him to take responsibility for the behavior he used to have and to understand the pain that it used to cause, right? Now, I knew there was a link, and I didn't really fully understand it, because that's the thing about being a healer. I see the energy lines of things, and I'm pulling the energy line. It's kind of like this tangled mess of threads, and I can feel the end of the thread, and I'm just pulling it out from the tangle, and we get to the end, but I don't know what's at the end. So I'm starting to pull the tangle with my friend, and I'm saying to him, what about the pain? I think there's something in the fact that you used to cause pain for others. And he was like, oh, you've been at me a bit lately. And then very quickly he self-corrected, because that's another thing that's really important to learn when you're doing your healing journey, is to learn to self-correct. That is to know that when you're throwing stuff at other people, when it's not really their fault, when people have a good intention towards you, but it might be hurting you, but that's because it's bringing up pain from the past, it's not them. So actually understanding, when you can self-correct, and my friend did this and it was amazing, because he's been learning that, and I was so proud of him. And then what happened is, when he dived in, and I said, right, you've got to dive in. When you've got a pain point, when something hurts, when someone's hurt you, heartbreak, whatever, you dive under it and you look at your behavior. Is this something that you've done to others in the past? Does it remind you of something that happened in the past? And you dissect it a little bit. Now, you usually need to do it with somebody who's good at this. So this is something I do with my clients. Maybe you have a friend or a therapist that can do that for you, or you can always contact me. So when my friend was doing it today, what happened was that he went in and he was like, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh yeah. But I'd also talked to him about how amazing it was for self-correction, the self-correction he just did. So he already had I'm changing, then was able to go, oh yeah, that wasn't great, but I'm changing. So he knew not to blame himself anymore. And then the amazing thing happened. All this pain that he'd been carrying before he started looking at his part to play in it started to get easier to deal with. And that is what happens when you actually go under the pain point and you look at the patterns, because when you start to see there's a pattern and there's a reason why this has come up for you to deal with it, it's come up to give you freedom, basically. So every time you're in pain, even heartbreak, whatever, it's there to support you to learn more about yourself so that you have emotional freedom. Now you can either choose that or you can choose the suffering. Emotional freedom or suffering. Emotional mastery gives you freedom, but it is not easy to do, and you have to work hard on awareness. And then suffering, just blame others. That's fine. You've got a choice. So I hope this has given you a little insight into the kind of power, personal power you can have, particularly for those of us that have had really awful, painful things happen. Like this particular principle that I'm talking about, I've used it with people that have been kidnapped. I've used it with people that have had the B word from their childhood. No, a B word, like, I'm not going to say the word, but those unspeakable things that happen to children. I've used it for people that have had divorce, all kinds of things, and it always flips it. It always helps people understand, oh, there's a pattern to this, and then eventually it gives them freedom. So have the courage to go through the pain, right? Through the pain to the other side, and you will really find freedom in your own life. Hope this has helped. I'll see you in the next video. I'm Katriana. Speak to you soon. Bye.